Hello, and welcome to the second video lecture for the course. I'm Dr. Jonina Anderson-Lopez. I'll be grading and facilitating discussion posts. It's possible that another instructor is facilitating the course, and if so, please review the lecture portions of the video, noting that details about assignments may be different from what you see in the module. Let's talk about week 2, which is about the university outcomes and how they relate to the course. We'll also talk about genre, characteristics of crime fiction, French detective stories, literary criticism, and assignments for week 2. We'll start with reviewing the 3 university outcomes related to this course. When you view the syllabus, it lists the university outcomes, which include all the details that you see on the screen. Each outcome features other subpoints that are integral to the course and to your learning experience. Each outcome is tied to different components of the course. Small and large assignments will help reinforce how the outcomes contribute to your understanding of international crime fiction. However, rather than me delving too deeply into the outcomes, I'm going to recommend you view the video lectures about this topic created by Dr. Linwood Rumney. Follow the module links and you'll be able to view these informative videos. So let's move on to discuss genre and what it is. It's a word layered in multiple meanings because in addition to its meaning in storytelling, genre can also refer to categories or types of music, art, other creative works. And that's why in this class, you don't have to just pick a novel. You can pick a graphic novel or a film or a podcast for your major projects. So genre can also describe a particular style or form of literature, like poetry or drama. In some contexts, genre can also refer to classification systems used in academic research, particularly in the social sciences. Genre in storytelling refers to a category or type of narrative that's defined by certain conventions and characteristics, like plot structure, themes, and setting. Um, it, Familiar examples include romance, horror, science fiction, and mystery narratives. Detective fiction is a genre of crime fiction that follows a detective or other law enforcement agents as they solve a crime or series of crimes. It often involves a puzzle-like plot with clues and red herrings and a focus on the investigative process rather than on action or violence. However, as you'll find out while reading many of the stories during the course, that does not mean a detective story won't feature action or violence, but rather the puzzle or the process is the emphasis. Across the globe, this emphasis on the puzzle can take various forms. International crime fiction is a genre that takes place in different countries, or it can involve global themes or characters. It often explores cultural differences and the challenges of cross-border investigations, and it can include the subgenres that you see on the screen. Now let's discuss characteristics of crime fiction. Crime fiction typically features crime as its central element with a focus on the investigation, detection, and or resolution of that crime. It often involves a protagonist that's a detective or maybe they're a police officer or amateur sleuth, and can feature themes such as justice, morality, and the nature of evil. The genre may include subgenres such as detective fiction, true crime, legal thrillers. Crime fiction can be further characterized by its focus on the elements of mystery, suspense, and tension. So it's melding those genres and more, as well as its use of plot twists and again, red herrings to keep the reader engaged and guessing. The genre also frequently explores societal issues such as corruption, inequality, and the human condition. Crime fiction can be set up in a variety of contexts, featured in small towns, big cities, can feature a range of different characters, but will usually include victims, perpetrators, and witnesses. Now let's discuss detective fiction in France, because those are the types of stories you're going to be reading this week. Detective fiction in France, also known as, I'm sorry, it has a long and rich history dating back to the mid 19th century. Early French detective fiction often featured amateur detectives like the detective you can see on the screen. In the 20th century, the genre evolved to include more socially critical elements, like the inspector on the screen, which spans a whole series. This series explored the complex social and political issues of post-war France. Today, French detective fiction remains popular and diverse, with a range of subgenres and authors exploring everything from classic whodunits to police procedurals and psychological thrillers. The stories from this module will exemplify French detective storytelling. Literary criticism. As mentioned in Module 1, you'll be encouraged to analyze stories through engaging with forms of literary criticism. These modes of criticism will help you break down the meaning of stories in your forum assignments and later for projects 1 and 2. We started with psychoanalytic criticism for week 1, and we continue this week with biographical criticism. Biographical criticism is a literary theory that analyzes a work of literature, taking apart the life, experiences, and beliefs of the author. It seeks to understand how the author's personal history and context might have influenced their writing and explores the connections between their life and their work. As you construct the second forum response, watch the biographical criticism video and apply this form of criticism to your analysis by looking up one or both of the author's lives and seeing what details stick out to you that might have influenced how or what they wrote about. This is practice for project 2, where you're going to be required to compare and contrast 2 stories from the course by using a form of literary criticism. Assignments in week 2. So just like last week, this week you have several stories to read and understand. You also have another optional worksheet titled Integrating Quote Style Corner. Why should you complete an optional assignment? Because maybe you know nothing about integrating quotations. This is great practice to help you for this course and other courses, and especially so you don't have to ask me, what is integrating a quote? Because you can practice on your own and you will get the full range of points for forums and for your major assignments because you will correctly integrate quotes. You also have another quiz to complete, and quizzes are always due on Saturdays and cover a variety of questions. Sometimes they're multiple choice and sometimes they're short answer form, and you have to type in the answer, and then I update the quiz grade and you can see your points after that. You also have 2 discussion posts instead of what I think it was like 3 last week, just 2 this week. The first discussion is placing the university outcomes in practice. So consider a social or global perspective about the story that you chose for project 1. When you do that, access the free AI website Dolly to generate an image related to this perspective. If the website is not working, you can use another free online AI image generator website to finish the assignment. Once you generate an image that you like, Write about the image and how it exemplifies the global or social perspective related to your story. As always, post the content by Saturday night, and your responses to your peers are due by Tuesday. The second discussion is about the two French stories. Consider the rules of crime fiction from P.D. James in relation to the two stories. Additionally, explain how biographical criticism might be used when analyzing one or both stories. You have to post the content by Saturday night, and your responses to peers are due by Tuesday. In the second discussion, practice integrating a quote. To learn more about quote integration, visit the link in the discussion, which features examples, and the optional worksheet, as we discussed, also reviews this skill set. Each discussion has a rubric that you can always access, and then whenever I grade discussions, I include a list of what I reviewed in the lectures and in the modules, and if you met these expectations or not. If you have any questions about the module or a specific question about an assignment or a reading, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for viewing this video lecture and have a great rest of your week.